Big injury news in the WNBA. Caitlin Clark is going to miss the next 2 weeks with a quad strain, at least the next 2 weeks. And if it were to be exactly 2 weeks, that would be 4 games that she is going to miss at minimum.
And I have to say that I did notice in the Liberty game, Caitlin Clark's shots were all very short. So it was showing that she wasn't like getting off, and she was having a difficult time making those threes, and a lot of explosiveness from those 3-point shots does come from your legs.
This is actually an injury that was separate from the quad tightness issue, as Caitlin Clark described it earlier in the preseason, that she dealt with before. So it's a little bit of interesting situation given that it was the same leg, but the team is saying it is actually a new injury.
In just one shocking moment, the golden age of the WNBA may have shattered. Caitlin Clark, the league's brightest star, the rookie rewriting record books with every game, hit the floor hard after a ruthless foul that silenced the crowd and alarmed doctors. Officially, it's being called a quad injury. Out for 2 weeks, they say. But behind closed doors, the story might be far darker. Whispers are growing louder. Insiders claim her condition is far worse than the fever is letting on. Even more explosive? Sources say some of the very doctors treating Clark are demanding a full-scale investigation into the referees, accusing them of turning a blind eye to the escalating violence she's faced all season. This wasn't just a random injury. This could be the boiling point of months of unchecked aggression, ignored warning signs, and a league that let its biggest star become a constant target. Was this an accident, or was Caitlin Clark betrayed by the very system she was carrying on her back? Because what we're uncovering now, from buried symptoms to behind-the-scenes backlash, could be the start of a scandal that shakes the WNBA to its core. The WNBA's reckoning came not with a warning, but in a heartbeat, a single, brutal moment that sent shockwaves far beyond the hardwood. What should have been a routine drive turned into a disaster as Caitlin Clark, the league's rising icon, was violently taken down. Not a bump, not a simple foul. This was a full-force collision, late, high, and dangerously reckless. The crowd froze. Then came the boos. Replays confirmed every fan's worst fear. The defender made no attempt to play the ball, instead delivering what many are calling a cheap shot. Clark's leg twisted underneath her as she hit the floor hard and stayed down. Trainers rushed in. Her face said it all. The whistle came, but it was far too late. And here's the kicker. This wasn't the first time. Caitlin's been absorbing these hits all season, but this time, this one might have done lasting damage. Hours later, the Indiana Fever dropped the bomb. A left quad injury, sidelined for a minimum of 2 weeks. But that's just the surface. Behind the scenes, the situation is spiraling. Insiders now claim Clark may have been playing hurt long before this hit, and this blow was just the final straw. Multiple sources say doctors were alarmed by the state of her leg, warning that continued play could have led to a season-ending, or even career-threatening, injury. And now, rumors are spreading like wildfire. Not from fans, not from trolls, from people close to the situation. The kind who know what's really going on. So the question isn't just how long Caitlin will be out. It's why no one stepped in before it got this far. But here's where it gets even more explosive. Medical insiders are now reportedly urging the WNBA to launch a full-scale investigation. Not into the injury, into the referees. That's right. According to multiple whispers, doctors treating Caitlin Clark have privately called out the league for failing to protect her, pointing directly at the officiating in her games. They're saying she's taken hit after hit, with no calls, no protection, and zero accountability. Let that sink in. Medical professionals are demanding that the refs be investigated. If this is true, the WNBA isn't just facing an injury crisis, they're staring down a potential scandal. Because the warning signs? They've been flashing red for weeks. This wasn't some freak accident. This was a storm everyone saw coming. Clark missed the Fever's preseason opener with left quad tightness. Yes, the same leg that gave out. But just days later, she was back on the court, playing full minutes like nothing happened. And yet, anyone watching closely knew something was wrong. Her first steps looked stiff. Her signature deep shots? Off target. Her speed? A step slower. Cameras even caught her on the bench mid-game, wrapping her leg in heat packs, something no healthy athlete does during play. Even more shocking, Coach Stephanie White admitted the team didn't know how serious it was until Clark herself spoke up after the game. Let that sink in. The league's biggest star was quietly playing through pain, hiding the injury, pushing through contact, and doing everything she could to live up to the sky-high expectations. Night after night, she took the hits, said nothing, kept going, because the pressure to perform was overwhelming. And now, the question everyone's asking, was Caitlin Clark already injured before that brutal foul even happened? Was this tragedy not just preventable, but predicted? Now, we dive into the real issue. How unchecked physical play and zero protection may have pushed Caitlin Clark's body past the breaking point. Some shrug it off as just part of the game, but anyone who's been watching her rookie season knows better. This wasn't a freak hit, this was a slow burn. From her very first game, Clark has been the bullseye. Defenders grabbing her off the ball, body checks on screens, hard fouls with no attempt at the ball. Night after night, she's been subjected to a level of contact that flirts with dangerous. And yet, the refs stay quiet. No flagrants. No techs. No ejections. Nothing. Meanwhile, veterans with name recognition get whistles for half that contact. But Clark? She's expected to eat the hits, walk it off, and smile for the cameras. Rookie or not, she's being treated like she hasn't earned the right to fair play, and fans see it. They see the inconsistency, the double standard, and they're furious. Because this isn't just physical basketball. This feels like targeted punishment, a kind of slow-motion sabotage that wears the body down until something finally breaks. And now, it has. But the silence isn't just on the court. The league? Still quiet. And that silence is starting to sound like complicity. Caitlin Clark isn't just another player. She's the reason the WNBA is trending, the reason tickets are sold out coast to coast, the reason casual fans are finally tuning in. She's the engine, the momentum, the moment. And now, that engine just stalled. And the league better ask itself one thing fast. What happens when the very star carrying your future is left unprotected, overworked, and finally broken? That engine didn't just stall, it crashed. Caitlin Clark wasn't just a rookie, she was a phenomenon. Her games shattered viewership records. Her jersey became a bestseller overnight. Ticket prices to see her? NBA level. Sponsors jumped on board the moment her name was called on draft night. Cities like Baltimore and Chicago even moved their matchups to bigger arenas, just to handle the demand. But the moment her injury was announced, all of that started to collapse. Refund requests began flooding in. Teams that had banked their entire marketing campaigns on Clark's presence are now staring down rows of empty seats. Chicago moved their game to the massive United Center, and now they're facing the nightmare of a half-empty arena on national television. Behind closed doors, the panic is real. Execs are scrambling. Broadcasters are bracing for a sharp drop in ratings. And advertisers, the same ones who paid premium prices for Clark-featured matchups, are suddenly rethinking every dollar. Because the truth couldn't be clearer. The WNBA bet everything on Caitlin Clark and never once built a system to protect her. They hitched their future to a single star and left her exposed. And now, the cost of that gamble is coming due. But while the business world scrambled, something even darker was erupting online. A storm that revealed the ugliest side of the conversation. The moment Caitlin Clark's injury went public, social media lit up, but not with support. Not with concern. Instead, a disturbing segment of the WNBA fanbase began celebrating. That's right, celebrating her injury. Mocking her. Posting laughing emojis. Sharing tweets that cheered her absence like it was some kind of victory. It was disgusting. And it exposed a brutal truth about the environment Clark's been forced to navigate. Not just on the court, but in the culture surrounding it. Entire threads. Post after post. All dedicated to ridiculing a 23-year-old who just got seriously injured doing what she loves. And let's be clear, this wasn't just random internet trolling. A huge chunk of the hate came straight from rival fanbases, especially those aligned with teams like the Chicago Sky and Angel Reese. The same people who always say, "We don't hate Caitlin, we just hate her fans." But now, they were celebrating her being out. Go look at the quote tweets on the Indiana Fever's injury announcement. It's all there. Smiley faces, party emojis, jokes about her being soft or faking it. This wasn't one or two trolls. It was a coordinated flood of toxic, gleeful mockery. And here's the most chilling part. This mindset isn't just online. It's been playing out on the court all season. Clark's been shoved, hit, and harassed game after game, with no protection. And now that she's hurt, the message from these so-called fans is loud and clear. Good. She deserved it. This isn't rivalry, it's hate. A calculated, targeted campaign against the most important player in the league. And the worst part, the WNBA's failure to step in didn't just leave Clark vulnerable. It validated this behavior. Because when you don't protect your stars, you give their haters a green light. And now that she's injured, we're seeing the full impact of that silence. But it wasn't just the fans who failed her. The silence from leadership was deafening. While social media erupted, with both heartbreak and hatred, one voice was missing, the league itself. No statement from WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert. No show of support. No warning to teams. No crackdown on the dangerous physicality Clark has faced since day one. Just silence. And that silence? It's been building for months. And now it's screaming. All season long, the refs have let it slide. Hard fouls, No whistle. Shoves, grabs, body checks? Play on. Caitlin Clark has been slammed to the hardwood again and again. And the worst part? The double standard is undeniable. Clark gets called for light contact, sometimes just brushing past a defender, while her opponents play like it's a street fight. That inconsistency didn't just cost the Fever points, it cost the WNBA its biggest star. And fans have noticed, because let's be real, if this were Sabrina Ionescu, Diana Taurasi, or Aya Wilson, would the refs stay this quiet? Would they still let him play? The answer is clear. Even coach Stephanie White admitted that she didn't realize how badly Clark was hurt, because players like Caitlin hide their pain. Why? Because when you're treated like a target, showing weakness isn't an option. You grit your teeth. You keep playing, because you know nobody's coming to protect you. The league had chance after chance to step in. After her preseason injury, after the viral clips of elbows to the face, after the mounting cheap shots game after game. But they didn't. They let it all slide, until her body finally gave out. And now they're scrambling to clean up the mess they refused to acknowledge. But while the WNBA is busy with damage control, the Indiana Fever are in crisis. Their superstar is gone, and the numbers tell a brutal story. With Caitlin Clark on the floor, the Fever's offense hums at 107.5. Without her, it nosedives to a staggering 82.2. That's not a decline, that's a collapse. Because Clark isn't just a scorer, she's a creator. Her vision, her gravity, her ability to stretch defenses, she's the engine of everything. And now that engine is gone, Clark didn't just carry the Fever, she elevated everyone around her. Now that safety net is gone, and the pressure is sky high. Every single player on that roster is being thrown into the deep end, and they've got no choice but to swim. Head coach Stephanie White is already talking adjustments, shifting the offensive focus, changing the approach. Translation: it's time for the rest of the team to prove they're not just background actors in the Caitlin Clark show. First up, Aaliyah Boston. Last year's Rookie of the Year now becomes the primary option in the paint. She and Clark had built a dangerous pick-and-roll chemistry, but now Boston's going back to basics. The team is ramping up her post touches, trying to tap into that dominant low-block game she was known for in college. The question is, can she carry that load under pressure? Then there's Kelsey Mitchell, Indiana's most consistent scorer not named Clark. Now, she's not just a bucket getter, she's the new playmaker. More touches, more defensive focus, more pressure. If she rises to the moment, she could cement herself as a true star. But if she stumbles, the Fever's offense might grind to a halt. And for role players like Lexi Hull, Sophie Cunningham, and vets like Natasha Howard, this is it. No more coasting behind Clark's gravity. No more waiting in the wings. It's time to step up or step out, because the schedule ahead is brutal. Washington, Connecticut, Chicago, all playoff caliber teams. No time for excuses, no room for error. The Caitlin Clark era may be on pause, but for the Indiana Fever, the fight is just beginning.